Okay, my top games of the year. Couple quick things. I have Jedi Fallen Order, but I'm waiting to play it till Christmas, and I'm not gonna beat that game till after the new year because I plan on doing everything, so it's off the list. But just to make the list a little bigger, HD remasters are on the list. It's still a game that came out this year that I paid money for. Coming in at number 6, bottom of the barrel, Gears of War 5. A game that started out phenomenal, lots of fun, but kept getting bogged down by AI issues and glitches that when I restarted the game would take me back 3 checkpoints. And granted, you can do things like have the bot in your squad, but I went through the whole game without using it other than segments where it was required, so it's not worth it. Neither does the semi open world work, where before finding collectibles was a cool reward for going a little bit off the beaten path. Now it's a lame consolation for going way out of the way. And to boot, when I beat the game, I didn't get the achievement. I went back, replayed the final battle, still didn't get the achievement. I uninstalled the game, haven't thought about it since. So yeah, Gears 5 could have been a great game. The first hour or so was phenomenal, and then it's just a downhill plummet. Coming in at number 5, Final Fantasy VIII Remastered. Little quick thing, I hated this game back when it came out in the PS1 days. Now, upon replaying it and having access to the internet so I get the answers to all the seed tests so I can keep making good money, and I have access to, again, internet resources, knowing where to find the more cryptic stuff in this game, I can actually say I like it, but I still say how cryptic some of this stuff is a huge negative, because without internet or a guide, you're going to be hard pressed to find the majority of this. But I have a new appreciation for it, and I know some of the YouTubers were complaining about supposed censorship to altered CG models. I think it's a big nothing sandwich. What they slightly altered, I think, looks better. And as another nice bonus, it has Battle Assist, which keeps you in your limit break. I forget what it's called in 7, and heals damage. So if you're someone that just wants to play the game for the story, Battle Assist is a cool little feature. Number 4, Ghostbusters Remastered. This was Ghostbusters 3 before the upcoming Ghostbusters 3 is still a thing. I hope there's still nods to this game in the movie. I want it to still be canon because Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis did consider the game canon, and it still should be. It's fun getting to interact with the other cast members. You feel like you're actually hanging out with the Ghostbusters. And that's this game's biggest strength. Even though the gameplay isn't always the most fun, it's just offset by being with the Ghostbusters. Number 3, Resident Evil 2 Remake. Scariest game I ever played. I really enjoyed this despite some negatives like Mr. X, how he is. I find that more of a negative because after a certain point, he just becomes more of a nuisance. The sewer area's been changed and it's more of a slog to get through, and the tram area, which is my favorite area in the original game, is completely different, and I was let down by that. Plus the fact that all residents of Raccoon City are required to have steel plates in their head because it takes 12 headshots to kill them. It's still a great game. I don't think it's as good as the original, but It's definitely one of the best games this year, and it's still a masterpiece despite its shortcomings. Number 2, Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Keiji Igarashi, I can't remember pronounce his first name right, who was in charge of Castlevania for years, comes out with this independent crowdfunded release and knocked it out of the park. This game is Castlevania. I can't say enough. It feels like Castlevania. It looks like Castlevania. And despite not having the licensed music, it sounds like Castlevania. And even more, with slightly altering some of the lore around this game, it could easily fit in the Castlevania universe. And my number 1 game is Devil May Cry 5. This game was just fun. 3 characters with 3 different play styles. Nero still kind of feels like a dumbed down version of Dante because again he only has the 2 weapons, and what's interesting is because he doesn't have his arm in this, it was chopped off. He has these artificial arms he can switch out, and it makes for some very unique experiences and gives a little more of a unique gameplay. I personally feel that it's a step down from what he can do with his arm in the previous game, but it's great and it shakes it up enough that I don't miss it. And this game is more balanced because if you play Devil May Cry 4, there's certain enemies that when you're playing as Dante, you can tell were clearly designed for Nero to fight, to use the grab ability and beat down. And with Dante, the pace of the game always slowed down when you face these enemies. Not in this game. In this game, it's designed for... the enemies are pretty much designed for all characters to fight effectively. The character of V, who looks like a Final Fantasy character, and if he was an old school Final Fantasy character, would be the character you put in the back row casting summons and support magics. I didn't like him at first, but I had a lot of fun with him, and he's by far the easiest character to S rank levels with. Plus, his summons have their own unique personality, so there's a lot of banter going on with him, and some nice plot twists that I will not spoil. Dante is the most fun he's ever been to control in a Devil May Cry game. Dante has never controlled so smooth and fluidly. The story is good with some twists and turns, some things you may have seen coming, but it does feel really epic and apocalyptic. So those are my top games of this year. What do you think? What are your favorites? Comment and subscribe down below. Over and out.